and welcome to the FCI London podcast, where we sit down with some of London's most influential luxury designers, exploring the ideas, craftsmanship, and stories shaping exceptional interiors. I'm your host, Imke Du Toit, and today I am delighted to be joined by Charlotte Heather, founder of Charlotte Heather Interiors, a Hampstead-based interior design and architectural practice specializing in high-end residential projects. Established in 2003, Charlotte has built an outstanding reputation for delivering bespoke interiors across London, particularly within heritage homes and Grade 2 listed properties. Her work is known for its thoughtful layering, refined use of texture and pattern, and a deep respect for architectural context, and always balanced with practical needs of modern living. And today we'll explore a little bit about Charlotte's approach to context-led design, working with historic spaces, and how she creates interiors that feel both elegant and genuinely livable. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today, Charlotte. Welcome.
Thank you very much. And thank you for that lovely introduction. That was very, very nice and very kind of you. Thank you.
It's only a pleasure. It's lovely to have you here. I know how busy it can be this time of year as well. So thank you so much for joining us. And I look forward to our conversation this morning.
Thank you.
So, Charlotte, the designer behind the studio, let's have a look at that a little bit. I mean, London is brimming with interior designers, yet many studios fail to survive beyond a decade. What do you believe is the uncomfortable truth behind this?
I feel that designing beautiful spaces doesn't actually just require design. There's more to it. I feel that with 20 years experience in this industry, I've learned over the years that you just really have to nurture your clients, the process, and the entire journey with them, more so now than maybe I did in the past. I feel that by having, as a studio, we have brilliant processes in place so that every step of the journey in the design process is very well organized and documented and explain to the clients, because clients today just need so much more information because they can get so much more information.
Of course.
And because they are so well informed, we need to be that more informed. So that's what I feel. Keeping up with the current patterns and methods of designing and just keeping on top of the game, just keeping there present, and just make sure people know that we're here to design for you, and we're willing and we're able and we're very experienced at it.
I agree with you. As you said, it is about making sure you're 100% prepared, and staying ahead of it and staying ahead of the game. The UK's reverence for heritage often dominates design decisions. I mean, do you think that this is preserving design quality, or is it subtly stifling innovation a little bit?
So for me, it depends on how well you understand the building. Many of the homes I work on have evolved over decades, sometimes centuries. So heritage is about listening to what the house needs rather than imposing something new. When I approach it that way, design decisions feel calmer, more confident, and innovation becomes more thoughtful rather than forced. So I think from that perspective, whilst innovation is there, it doesn't hold us back. We do still keep it in our schemes and in the design process.
Okay. I think that's a wonderful way to look at it as well. As you said, understanding the architecture that goes, beyond decades, and being able to design within that realm. I mean, designers are quick to boast of their creativity. Few speak of restraint. How critical is it to say no to a client in order to maintain long-term design integrity?
Okay. No, sounds like such a strong, powerful word, but it is part of the job. I believe it has to be done kindly, and often clients are relieved when someone is prepared to give them guidance gently and also be honest with them. Sometimes I think clients might even test me and go, what do you think of these hot pink curtains with this lime green blind? And I think they're also testing me, and I can say, well, what do you think? And then if they actually genuinely go, I do think this is going to really work, I'll go, okay, let's put it into the scheme, but be mindful, which is one of my main favorite words. My team know when I say be mindful, it means it's not the word. That it may not work, but let's give it a go. Because I think it takes, it's so important that we just keep dealing with the brief I keep saying
Sure.
to my team when we're working, don't forget the brief, read it.
Mm.
When you're working on that project, keep rereading and rereading that brief, because the brief is what the client wanted during that really special
Yes.
moment when we talked together about the
Mm.
brief. And
Sure.
they will try and go off piste because that's the nature of us
Mm.
as humans. But when you nail a brief and you get it right, the design
Yes.
really can be relatively straightforward from there. So when no comes into play, it's usually because let's remember the brief. Did we
Yes.
really want lime green in our scheme? I remember you saying you didn't like it very much. Should we
Mm.
rethink that? So yes, we do sometimes say no, but always very
In a much
gently.
nicer way, gentler
Yeah,
way,
kind, sweeter.
which is better. I think that must be one of the hardest parts, I think, of working with clients because, you know, at the end of the day, it is what the client wants. It's not always to say that's what's going to work. I mean, if we're
Yes.
looking at, you know, luxury and heritage and the realities of the industry, the word bespoke is thrown around liberally these days. I mean, how much of what's sold as bespoke in UK luxury market would you argue is actually anything but? I mean, we use the word bespoke quite a bit. I think bespoke means different things to different people. But in the UK luxury market, would you argue it's actually anything but?
Okay, so bespoke to me is seen and providing elements
Hmm.
of the home which are unique to that bespoke home. I just feel that it's so important that to me,
Hmm.
bespoke means it's uniquely made for you,
Hmm.
for your desires, your needs, your personal requirements. And I think my bespoke answer also sounds so small when you talk about the entrance
Hmm.
hall and having a little drawer and what that drawer has to serve. But it goes as far as when we're designing a kitchen, we really do listen to our clients. And for example, one project we did not long ago, the client loved to cook, the gentleman,
Hmm.
and the lady loved to keep her bottom warm. Well,
Okay.
she was sitting with her clothes on, of course, chatting and cooking. And he was cooking and she's chatting. And yet we put underfloor heating everywhere. We made it all so seamless and neat. But we put this beautiful cast iron radiator, it was a perfect height for her to perch her little bottom while he cooked for her. The heating system. Let's bespoke the layout of the kitchen so that she can
Sure.
sit there, he can stand there, and they can communicate in harmony and both be happy.
That's a beautiful story as well. It just shows as well that you're bringing in elements of people's personalities and their hobbies and what they like to do, and to making that balance and that comfortability a livable space for those clients as well. I mean, it's really lovely to know that you can create a space like that that just speaks to both of them and not just to the one.
I love that phrase. It speaks to both of them.
Mm.
That's definitely what we do. And,
Sure.
the two people have different voices. So
Yes,
sometimes you have to navigate the communication between them and the deliverance on our end.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. Let's just look a little bit now with the cost of skilled craftsmanship rising. Are we pricing ourselves out of our own heritage restoration expertise in the UK?
I don't think so. I
Hmm.
think as long as designers, we
Hmm.
encourage our clients to appreciate the quality of true craftsmanship and what that entails. I think if we make sure it's embodied in what we do and deliver, then it makes us who we are and what we are. So I love the fact that I work with joiners who come to me,
Hmm.
then they don't live far away. They're never really
Sure.
far away. So if there's a problem, they come. And so I can always get that honest on the ground
Hmm.
service. Don't get me
Sure.
wrong, I work with international companies and I love working with them and I respect what they bring to the table. But I love the British true craftsmanship, especially in, my design practice.
And there's such beauty in the historical landscape there, especially in the UK as well, and what there is in the amount of history. Definitely agree with that. So we're going to move a little bit into looking at sort of client psychology and the power dynamics. I mean, who really calls the shots in a luxury project these days? I mean, is it the designer or is it the client? I mean, has the balance of power shifted in the last 5 years, would you say?
Okay, so I think it's shifting a little bit, but it's
Yeah.
shifting in the sense that it's more and more of a partnership. I think because there's so much information for them out there. So they do come to the table with a little bit more information, a bit more knowledge, awareness of what's out there and what's available to
Hmm.
them. So I look at it as more of a partnership that's happened over the years. I've always designed with partnership in mind, working with the client, making sure the client is very much involved in that journey and it's their design journey. I'm just taking them
Yes.
for the ride and I'm making sure it's not too bumpy. So that's how I see it. But now I see it's more and more to do with being in a partnership. So clients bring their sort of lives, their priorities, and often a bit of anxiety to the table, which I notice. My role as I see it is to bring structure, experience, and reassurance. And so then many of my clients can, whilst they can come to me feeling very overwhelmed, I feel that by us working as a partnership in the designer client relationship, they can start to feel more in control because they understand the journey more because I've explained it to them, and then more reassured, and then they can step back a bit more, and then it can be more led by me. But I do let them take charge initially, and then I help them to let them.
Yes.
I like to hold the hand and say,
Absolutely.
look, follow me.
Yes.
We're going to do this together.
As you said as well, it's a give and take partnership relationship with client and designer, and you need to understand that that balance is very important. I mean, high net worth clients often seek guidance. I mean, as we were saying now, I mean, do they truly want advice or simply confirmation for decisions they've already made? Following as actually from our previous question as well. I mean, do you find that quite a bit with the high net worth clients?
Yeah, so they usually need reassurance at first. That's really important. I find just reassure them that they're in safe hands. It's going to be okay. And then people want to feel they're making the right decisions, of course, because everybody wants to be quite sustainable these days. And that's
Yes.
really quite strong for me is, they'll say to me, I've come to you because I've already bought a sofa, can't send it back. Nobody wants to buy it
Mm.
off me. And I realize I'm making not just costly mistakes, but
Mm.
sustainability wise, this is just going to landfill and it's really stressing me out. So I want to help make them feel that they are making the right decisions by us going through these processes. And then
Absolutely.
once the trust is built, there's far more opportunity for pure, honest guidance from my side. And I find this, yeah, and I do find the strongest projects are always ones where clients feel really listened to and they feel safe being challenged as well. So when I say, go on, let's rethink this. I've come up with this idea. What do you think? And they just does after building that relationship, they can see that I'm thinking of them. I'm thinking of their home. So yeah, I think with the reassurance, it's very much, yeah, led
Absolutely. I
first.
think I love what you said as well, again, by trust and being obviously transparent from the beginning and understanding your clients and, getting that comfortability. But it's a very important part of it, isn't it? That
Yeah.
trust relationship with your clients. Absolutely.
Mhm.
When we look a little bit at cultural shifts and wealth, and in terms of just a global context, I just have a question around London remains a magnet for international wealth, but are global influences enriching British residential design or slowly eroding a distinctive local design language?
I think they can do both.
Okay.
I think when global influences are layered carefully, they add depth. The
Mm.
British design has always been about balance and layering and colours and historical elements and antiques, especially when I'm designing as a very British interior designer. But British design has always evolved over the years, and I think that when you add different elements to it, it can actually make the project look more interesting when you bring in more projects or you bring in items from abroad that are really special, and you can actually enrich the space and make it look so much better and more interesting.
You absolutely answered the question. And, we are going to have global influences all over. As you mentioned, I think it is really about finding pieces that might be able to enhance it if that was the case.
Definitely. And I do find that I do have international clients that
Mm.
have obviously moved to the UK and have started their lives here. And they're
Sure.
even quite young. Some of them are quite young, sort of in their early 30s. And they're
Sure.
starting their life here. And they bring something from, say, Canada, or they bring something from Argentina, or they're bringing something from Japan. And I'll be honest, that really excites me. I love it when a client brings their history, their culture into my English design elements, because blending the two is just so lovely because it just makes it more enriching and more interesting and more, yeah, it's brilliant for me. It keeps me young.
It's very interesting for you to say as well. It's obviously you're seeing an influx of a lot of some international clients, obviously being a lot younger. Must be very interesting as well with the sort of the design elements they would like to bring in Yes. Well, let's look a little bit, around technology, AI, and a little bit about design accountability. I mean, we can't really, you know, move away from the fact that we are in such a technologically advanced era at the moment, and AI has sort of taken over and dominated so many parts of the industry as well. I mean, AI can now visualize just about anything. I mean, do you think it will expose the weaker designers or simply inflate the mediocre ones with good presentation?
The beginning, it's fine. I think initially you think, wow. And I think if somebody is struggling in the design world and to have
Hmm,
themselves seen and, accepted and
sure.
recognized, I think AI is a brilliant tool. I think it can be helpful, particularly, as I said, early on in your career when you're using it
Hmm,
or early on in the design process. Sometimes we'll be looking at a piece of joinery that we've designed and we
hmm,
just pop it into AI and say, make this a particular color. And then we think, oh, it will work. So AI is brilliant for that purpose,
yeah,
but it doesn't replace experience. And that's something that you can't buy. You can't get that from air. Oh, by the way, I've been doing this for 20 years. Could you make sure that this will work for that client? And there won't be
sure.
any pitfalls along the way. AI can't do that. Um, and I do find that designing a home involves thousands of small,
Hmm,
intricate
hmm,
decisions, of which
hmm,
lots of them are taken place in the studio, but really based on the brief. So we've got that really, really defined brief, and then we can go through those hundreds of small decisions. And the bigger ones and the more emotional ones, we can obviously go direct to the client for, which we would maybe not got from the meeting. But I still need to hold the whole picture, which AI can't do. It just can't hold the whole picture. It's too much information. It's too much going on, too many moving parts. And I feel that AI has its place, but definitely not there. And it can't manage budgets and timelines and how the space will actually work
sure.
when you live in
Sure.
it and how it will feel. It's too generic. It's too, at the moment, might get better.
I agree. I mean, if a client presented you with an AI generated interior design and said, I want this, I mean, what would be the first red flag you'd spot? But I think you sort of answered as well. It's going to probably be too vague, too much going on. Is that one of the red flags you would spot if someone brought you an AI generated interior design idea?
Well, what I will notice immediately, it's just not right because there's
Mm,
always something missing, like the
yeah,
handles, or they've got the dimension. AI hasn't quite read it right from what they've given them. So my first thing is it's to perfection. That it's not right. And what they haven't done is they've just put an instant thought into AI and said,
sure.
make this kitchen a blue kitchen. I dream of
Mm,
a blue kitchen. But it doesn't include the brief. There's more to it.
yeah,
There's so much involved in a design that
sure.
nobody really understands until they appoint an interior designer.
Mm,
And I'm sure the AI looks great, perfect, but we don't live in a perfect setting. We don't work and operate like that. We don't operate in this robotic manner that AI is able to generate. So real homes have compromises and constraints, which of course AI hasn't really noticed, that there's a pitched roof. It doesn't see pitched roofs, I've noticed. When a room looks too resolved, as in too generated, it usually hasn't been properly thought through. So that's another thing I think of when I see AI generated. And clients often appreciate having someone who can translate those images into something that's realistic and comfortable, which is what I can do, of course. So someone can
sure.
come to me with an AI image and say, oh,
Mm,
this is my living room. I want it to look like that. I'd say, great, let's just start
mm,
from the beginning. This is what you'd
sure.
like it to look like, but let's see what it will be like. Quite different.
Absolutely. Based on that, I mean, in 5 years' time, what part of an interior designer's role do you believe will remain irreplaceable? I mean, no matter how advanced technology becomes.
I think we come with a lot of judgment. We can make judgment on how the space is going to look and feel that AI can't, based on what we see through our eyes and feel
Sure.
from the space. So I know they'll probably put a robot in the room, but it will be missing that emotional intelligence that's required from an interior designer. Clients want to know I'm thinking about their project when they're in the room, and
Mm,
that quiet oversight that can't be replaced by
absolutely.
AI.
Sure. that human touch, because that is what it is, human experience that happens and the conversations. Because as you mentioned as well, with AI, it's just too perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. Do you use a lot of AI in the work that you use sometimes? I mean, I know you mentioned it's a great tool to have. You just need to know sort of how to work with it. But do you work a lot with it or not really that much?
Not a lot,
Okay.
but we do use it.
Okay.
I find it quite useful for taking meeting minutes, but
Mm,
maybe that's not the kind of AI question you're asking, but I use it for that. And then we ask it to, put them into bullet points. And of course, we still cross-check it with our note taking because AI can go a little off-piste. We do use it, like I said, for um, changing an image that we like for a client that we found on Pinterest, but we want to change that image to a different color shade, which is great
yes.
because then you don't have to put it
Mm,
into render and spend hours
sure.
doing that. It can do it within a
Yes.
minute. We also, what else do we use AI for? Sometimes for cross-checking my contracts. Although I have one standardized contract, I might ask it some latest questions, which is quite helpful. But in general, it's not used that much. I think I'd like to use it more. That's something I'm open to, and my team are open to as well. But without a doubt, it can't take over our job. Doesn't feel or look or act right.
You have to go
Yeah,
back to that basics.
100%. And if anything, AI can sometimes take you on the wrong track and
Oh,
you get carried
absolutely.
away. Oh,
Mm,
that's a great idea. And you think, no,
yes.
no, what's the brief? And AI's forgotten the brief.
Yes, I think someone once mentioned to me is that AI will never say no to you either. Okay, well, let's look a little bit now about ethics and transparency and sort of the future of practice. I mean, should clients be entitled to know the exact provenance of every key piece in their home, or is there a degree of opacity simple part of luxury design?
Strongly believe in transparency,
Mm,
and I feel that transparency builds trust. So clients don't always want every detail because they're time poor and
mm,
it can sometimes overwhelm them because they've got enough going on in their minds. But they should feel comfortable in asking at any given time. Often understanding the story behind a piece
mm,
makes it more meaningful and helps clients feel more confident in their choices. So I sort of feel that otherwise they're thinking, but why?
sure.
Okay,
Mm,
okay, we'll go with that. And then
well,
if you sort of explain why you've chosen that and where it came from, and your lead time is this long, and this is a piece of furniture that actually may potentially cost you a little bit more, but time is important to you and you would like to move into your house in 4 weeks time, but we can get it bespoke made for you. It'll be with you in 4 weeks time. You'll be able to
mm,
sit on it and not have to wait another 6 weeks for it to arrive. Your carbon footprint is better because it's our upholsterer up the road who's made it, so definitely. And I give them choices as well within that. So, yes, you could get it off the shelf. It'll take 12 weeks and go via Poland, which is fine, don't get me wrong. Or we can get it made up the road. Takes half the time. You'll need to present a bit more money for that. So often, yes, 100% transparency, honesty.
absolutely agree. I mean, is the design industry being entirely transparent about sustainability? You were talking about sustainability just now as well. I mean, is the industry being entirely transparent about sustainability, or is it still largely a well-crafted narrative to fit like the latest trend?
I think we're improving,
Mm,
but I think real sustainability is
mm,
often quite, so it's about, in my eyes, it's about
mm,
and repairing, and reusing and choosing things that won't need replacing in
mm,
a few years time. So when I'm designing, I'm always looking at the bigger picture, the long-term
mm,
approach. By doing it this way, I believe that you won't want to change this piece during your lifetime in this property. I always ask my clients, how long are you going to stay here?
mm,
And what is your plan in 5 years when you move? Would you like to take some of these pieces with you? Are you
mm.
wanting to sell your property with everything fixed? We do
Yes.
ask these kind of questions. And that piece, will you be upsizing? Let's think where this piece
Mm,
will be worthy of in the future. And so I want them to think beyond the now and the
mm,
design of the moment, the trend of now. And design pieces that will last the test of time.
Absolutely. I guess it's
So it's sort of,
exceptionally important,
yeah.
especially within your space, working within the traditional historical sort of context of UK design as well.
So I think also sustainability is such a big word. Small word, but it has a big role to play. And I think if designers all do their little bit, then it helps. And that's what I try to do. And I think the other thing I do is I collaborate with a charity, which is really
Okay.
quite lovely. So it's a
Mm,
charity for mothers who have been displaced for whatever means due to domestic violence or whatever their sad history may be.
mm,
And they're put into, a housing situation. They're in a house that they've been given by the government and it needs to be furnished. And because of what they've been through, if you just go to a local housing charity, the furniture isn't great. It's limited. And so what I do is I say to my clients that don't worry, if you want, these pieces that you no
mm.
longer need could actually go towards these ladies' homes. So they can also feel the luxury of design, because a lot of my clients have had maybe a designer before and their piece was designed for the trend of then or their brief then, and it's changed. So to be fair, their brief has changed. But the pieces of furniture are really good and really nice and beautifully done. So instead of them just going, I offer that service to them, and it just requires a van coming and collecting it, and off it
Yeah.
goes. And then it's got a lovely onward journey.
Absolutely. No, I think that's absolutely fantastic. And if it just has another story attached to it as well. I think that's fantastic. And are the clients very open to that as well? I mean, sometimes certain clients, they want to rather keep the pieces, move the pieces on. Have you not really had any issues with people not wanting to donate pieces?
So right at the beginning during the brief, I explained to them, what pieces do you want to keep?
Mm,
What are precious to you and would be perfect for you to keep? And then the second layer is, what are pieces that you like, but you've just
sure.
got used to them? So you are open to saying goodbye to them. Should our
Okay.
scheme not support them based on your brief? And
Mm,
so they give us two lists, really. These are the
okay.
pieces we've got to keep. Grandma's chest of drawers, my
Mm,
mother's chest of drawers that I mentioned earlier, and because it
yes.
has meaning and sentimental feelings for
Mm,
me. But then there'll be other things, like
sure.
the exercise bike that he's not
Sure.
using anymore, or the something else. And not namely that isn't a very good example, but it will be like the rug or the sofa or the
Mm,
armchair. And
sure.
so they'll put that on the list. And that's when once I've sort of secured the design with them, I will then say, based on the fact you love the pieces I proposed,
Mm,
how about we go through what we could do with those pieces that you no
sure.
longer need? And that's when I introduce to them this
Where we
charity
can do
and the
it. Sure.
opportunities that are available
Mm.
to them if they want them pieces to be
Yes.
rehomed.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. That's a beautiful, beautiful initiative that you are doing, that your business is doing as well. Now, okay, we're going to do something a little bit fun, Charlotte. It's called Rapid Fire with our interior designers. It's just one word answers. So I don't want you to overthink. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to state something and then I'm going to say, just to give you an example, the first one is heritage rules, essential or excessive. And then you must say either essential or excessive, but it's just one of those words that you can choose. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. All right. Heritage rules, essential or excessive?
Essential.
Bespoke furniture, craft or theatre?
Craft.
Okay. Client briefs today, clear or conflicted?
Clear.
Okay. Trends, useful or distracting?
They can be useful.
Okay. AI in interiors, tool or a threat?
A tool.
Okay. Transparency in pricing, overdue or dangerous?
Overdue.
And then London luxury design, is it evolving or stagnant?
I'd like to say evolving.
Okay. It's always difficult because I know there's so many things you can actually say it's one or the other just to get to with one word where your mind's at with these things. Okay. And then just lastly, Charlotte, I mean, in the marketplace saturated with noise and trends and digital imagery, I mean, do physical spaces like FCI London's luxury furniture showroom become increasingly indispensable, or are they quietly being undervalued?
They're indispensable. They're so, so important to
Mm,
the design process.
sure.
I've always encouraged my clients, as part of the design service that we offer, I first of all offer them the design and say, these are the beautiful pieces that we would really like to, put into your home for you. But
Sure.
then what I do is I take them on a journey. If they want to, they might not. But I feel it's so important and I encourage it. And in fact, I encourage it to a point that I really encourage it. Even if we meet on a Saturday morning, because they're working, of course, during the week, is to go into the showroom, to get that feeling, to sit on that sofa, feel the cushion, feel other cushions, other seat bases, so I can really tailor my service so it's unique to them. Because you can't get a feel for a sofa online. You can't get a feeling of size and proportion and depth, and as
Absolutely.
much as I can demonstrate it and show it in pictures.
Mm.
Yeah, 100%. We need
Yes.
places like FCI to
I guess as
stay.
well as you said, being able to actually feel the sofa, feel the textures, actually see how big items are within the spaces as well. I guess you wouldn't have that opportunity if you don't have showrooms like that to be able to get them to experience something of that sort as well.
100%. And I think whilst I was saying a lot of my clients are time poor,
Mm.
but when they do want to sit on that sofa during those few hours that they have that are crucial to them, it has to be comfortable. So it makes sense to just give that hour to meet me in the showroom. Sometimes I'll pick them up, take them, sit them on the sofa, give them a cup of tea, and then take them home. And it's sorted. I can sleep at night knowing they're going to be comfortable and not come back
Yes,
to me and say, we've got to change these seat pads. It's not working for me. Because
absolutely.
going back is harder than going forwards
I can
in
imagine
design.
that.
Because you have a momentum and you want to keep it,
Yeah,
and you want to keep all the cogs moving, and you want the client to
sure.
just have a great experience all the way.
I mean, what's the best feeling you get once a project is completed? What's the best feeling you get? Is it the client's reactions? What is really that sort of feeling? I know that if the client is comfortable and you've done your part, what would you say? I know it's one of the questions I'm just putting out there for you, but I mean, do you have anything specific at the way you would like to feel every time you finished a project?
I like to feel just so happy inside that the clients are happy. And that is what happens. It actually happens. And
Mm.
it's not a case of it's because of what I do, I believe is so amazing. I just believe that because every step of the way I've held their hand and every decision has been made so carefully, and
Mm.
they feel so supported and guided in their decision, that when the space comes together, they just keep saying to me, wow, and thank you. We just love it. And when clients say any of those three words, I just go, so do I. And I'm just so happy that you feel the same that I feel, and that I've been able to bring this feeling into your life. And you don't realize, but I think it's better than any for antidepressant on this planet to have a space that you just want to walk in the door and go, I just feel so happy here.
Yes,
It's
yes,
priceless.
yeah.
One of my clients said, I just can't stop skipping around the house.
Oh, wonderful. Yes.
And she's quite a character. So I can imagine
Mm.
her skipping around the house,
But
going to
that's
each room,
wonderful. That's the
tuning in.
perfect way to put it. Being so comfortable in the home that all I want to do is skip around. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I just want
No,
to
but it
skip
really
around,
is. I think you're
Lovely.
absolutely right. What you were saying, it's the best antidepressant is to know that you've got a space that's comfortable, beautiful, makes you feel 100% at home and yourself, and places you said as well where you can just walk in, breathe, and relax.
100%. And then when you speak to them year on and year on and year on, sort of 7, 10 years later, and they say, we're just still loving it. I just think, oh gosh, that is amazing that my timeless approach is still working for you. And it just means they don't keep hiring me again. So maybe I should just do trends.
Maybe you should. You never know. Things will keep shifting, keep changing. But I think that's fantastic because then obviously, you really are designing for that sustainable longevity, a space that people can live in for years and years to come, which I think is ultimately what you want to do. But I'm really glad that you joined us today. It's been absolutely lovely chatting to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been so lovely chatting to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And to all of our listeners and viewers, of course, thank you so much for joining us on FCI London podcast. Keep following and keep designing, and join us again as we continue our conversation with some of London's most influential luxury designers. Until next time, goodbye.